Hi, my name's Paul and this is PJT Ventures. Join me while I ramble on like an empty dump truck. Today's episode is going to feature 5 pieces of equipment. The first piece of equipment is an empty dump truck. This is a 1966 International 1600 Loadstar. Next we have a 40-foot by 14-inch wide conveyor that I set up. Next we have the ever reliable 1946 International T6 crawler. It's going to be the power unit today. Up top here we have the Priestman Bros Cub 5 crane. I believe it's a 1962. It's going to be running the clamshell bucket. And then finally, and new to the channel, is a 2016 jaw rock crusher. My brother ordered the rock crusher assembly brand new from Jason at Mount Baker Mining and Metals out of Washington State. And so in the spring of 2016, we got the crusher unit, and then I ran the powertrain, mounted it on the trailer here. We fitted a hopper to it, and then my brother's crew, they covered it in plywood and made it a little bit more user-friendly. Anyways, we call it the Trojan horse because it just gets us into jobs and gets us all this work. Before you realize it, you need a couple of dump trucks, and there's an excavator involved and crew. And so anyways, we found it to be really successful, and we'll go over some of the details at the end of the episode. But for right now, let's get it all started. Well, there's about 3 tons of crushed stone that we did with the setup here. I'm really happy. It's set at about 3" minus right now, so this would make great base. The conveyor worked perfect. I wasn't sure if this little motor was going to have enough. But it worked great. It's just a little DC. It's just a little DC drive, a 240 DC drive, just to that chain there, and then I just ran it with my genset. This hydraulic stuff here, actually, it was kind of like the first generation of the grain augers that move themselves around. So you would grab this tiller bar here, and then you would run these hydraulics, and that would run that orbit motor, and then you could also raise and lower this end of the auger, and then you would still use the winch to raise the far end of the auger. I cut the old auger off and then put a new frame member underneath there, big piece of square tubing, and then mounted this conveyor sections. There was 4 sections or 3 sections that I put together, and I put all brand new bearings and all the rollers, and it worked perfect. It just chugged along. You can vary the speed, but I had it at max. I'm not quite sure what its surface speed is, but it worked really good. With how slow I was actually feeding it with the crane, it could keep up just fine. You'd hear it lug down, but it did good. And then the crusher, yeah, the crusher just does amazing. We purposely made it so that it could be driven by or powered by tractors. Now, when we first got it, we thought we were going to need to have like 200 horsepower to run it. And so when I put all of this drivetrain together, this was all like rated for 200 horsepower. And then when we finally got it to operate, it didn't need hardly any horsepower. But that's fine. I mean, you can run it with almost anything. Inside here, we got a couple of these old outdated belly dump wagons. They had a pintle hitch, they had a permanent 5th wheel, but they had become non-compliant with the Department of Transportation because they were too short, I guess. And so we cut the hopper top off, and we lowered the crusher down inside of basically inside the belly of the belly dump wagon, and then we just added this big hopper to the top of it. And you can see here there's all these belts. But this is all, yeah, to be able to withstand 200 horsepower. But this unit, just the unit alone, the flywheels, the frame, the jaw, and nothing else, weighs 7 tons, like 14,000 pounds. It's amazing. Here's a shot from the other side. Those flywheels are 42 inches in diameter. To give perspective, it's a big machine. And then this, we just made kind of a chute that came down, but this is 24 inches wide by 16 inches deep. I don't think we ever really truly get the full production out of the machine, just because it's, I mean, a crusher is only as good as its screens and as good as its conveyors. I mean, on this little job, we were trickling in the rocks. When we first set it up, we had an old backhoe, And so we thought, oh, this will be perfect. We'll just mount the stabilizers, and so when we get to the site, we can just push the stabilizers down and it'll lift it up and it'll block itself and it'll be great. And so we welded it all in there and thought we were really doing something. And then when we went to use it, it didn't even budge. I don't even think it made the suspension move. We were super bummed. And I mean, you know, the crusher itself, that thing right there, there's 7 tons, and then I'm sure there's another, you know, 3 or 4 tons of trailer and hopper, and yeah, I guess it wasn't quite what we thought. But so now they've just been chained up there and they can just stay there forever. So it wasn't all sunshine and roses, but no, the crusher's just been amazing. It just keeps on finding ways to make us money. Now this is the Priestman Brothers crane, and it's got a Lister 3-cylinder and air-cooled, 1, 2, 3, a little diesel. It was factory. It's all just clutches, no hydraulics, clutches and brakes. So this is the, I believe this is the brake, and this is the lifting clutch for the drag side, and then that's for the hoist side over there, and then this is the slewing or travel clutches that drop down and run it runs the derrick up and down, it runs the slewing of the house, and then it also runs the travel. Right now, of course, we have it set up for the clam. This is the drag line fairlaid for if you have the drag line bucket on it. I got this bucket a while back. It's a little bit big for the machine, and I don't actually think it's supposed to be a digging bucket. I think it's supposed to be kind of a material handling bucket. I think the digging buckets have a whole bunch of shivs to lessen the uplift as it's closing. I believe this is I think this would have been like for handling, you know, granular coal and whatnot. But I mean, it worked pretty good for the rocks. I mean, you couldn't find a more difficult product to try to dig up. I had just placed this all here. This is all field stones that have been picked from all the fields around here, so it actually came out really clean. So I didn't actually have any fines going through it. These are the controls here. This is the house brake, or the lock for the swing. This is the drag, or this is for the drag line or for the clam to bite. This is your slewing or your travel, so this rotates the house or travels the machine. This is the hoisting clutch. Here's your brake for your drag and your brake for your hoist. Then there's a steering, there's a travel lock, there's your selector that goes from, I think I can see it there. Yeah, so it's travel, slewing, and then if you put it in the middle, you can actuate this lever, and that lever then raises and lowers the boom. And I was reading in a manual, apparently you can boom up and down with it fully loaded. So that's kind of cool. And then we have the spring-loaded tag line that keeps the bucket orientated correctly so that your cables don't get all confused. And then we have the Loadstar. That should really be shined every day. Anyways, it's in really nice shape. Runs really good. It has, I believe, the 304 V8 and a two-speed axle. It's only got hydraulic brakes, no air brakes. But Anyways, there you have it. I think it turned out really good. I'm really impressed with the crusher. I'm happy that the conveyor could keep up. The drag line, it munched away, and of course the little crawler, it just powered through. Yet again, another example of how reliable that little crawler is. Anyways, all in all, I'd say that this afternoon was a success. As far as, let me know what you guys want to see as far as content. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff that we can look at. Leave a comment, let me know. Otherwise, we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.